Hey guys, Kim Kardashian here. Let me be straight up with you for a second. Social media is fucking whack. Let's be honest here. If you use social media, you're probably antisocial. That's a fun bit of irony for you right there. There's nothing that pains me more than hopping on Instagram or Facebook and seeing some shallow, pseudo-intellectual tripe that some spoiled upper-middle-class white girl posted on her page, and watching her countless number of sheeple followers flock to her disposal in order to praise her like the goddess she is to them. Oh my god, you're so pretty. Your life is so much better than mine. I wish I could be just like you. Oh, please notice me. Your acknowledgement of my existence is my only source of validation. You see where I'm going with this. It's just so artificial, it burns. And I'm not even just talking about celebrities. We all know they're fake. It's something that plagues even normal, common, everyday people. Whether it be your friends, people you go to school with, or even your family. It's the drug that everyone's addicted to. This shallow sense of superficiality creeps into the farthest corners of social media platforms. Admit it, half the people you keep up with on social media you don't actually like or even talk to in real life. We're all caught up in the rat race of trying to impress other people. It's disgusting. Shouldn't our own opinions of ourselves be enough? Do we really have to rely on external sources for self-satisfaction? Ooh, nice alliteration. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm above it all. Like I haven't fallen victim to this way of thinking either. I try to impress other people all the time, whether it be people I like or hate. I live to be noticed by others. Why do you think I have a YouTube channel? I'm not entirely sure why we all fall for it either. I mean, come on, we all know we're being fake to one another. Are we really too afraid to admit it? Well, for the most part, yeah, we are too afraid to admit it. We're all so desperate to maintain this illusion of friendship and intimacy in hopes that it'll make us feel better about ourselves. But to be fair, you probably knew that already. Let's not kid ourselves here. I think a majority of people nowadays have some idea regarding the toxic and superficial nature of social media. So why the hell do we buy into it? We all know how harmful it can be to our self-image, and we're all aware that 98% of the content that people post is a fabrication of their true identity. I know you've heard it a million times before. You're only seeing the best parts of people's lives. Don't compare your behind the scenes to other people's highlight reel. The Jews staged the moon landing, yada yada yada. You've probably had that message drilled into your head so many times by both your parents and your school administration that it's practically ingrained in your frontal lobe. We all know that social media is bad. I don't have to tell you that. You're already woke enough to figure that out on your own. We all hate social media already. So instead of boring you with that same old spiel, I'm instead going to talk to you about why we use social media in the first place and why we care about it so much. The main reason why so many of us are seemingly addicted to social media is because it provides us with instant gratification. More specifically, it gives us a reward that we don't have to work for. Think about it. Why work towards a long-term achievement that requires time, effort, and dedication when you can scroll through Instagram and receive tiny bursts of dopamine each time you like someone's post or find a hilarious ironic Indian meme? It's short-term pleasure over long-term satisfaction, and it's something we can't get enough of. Let me get all sciencey on you for a sec. The scary thing about dopamine is that it often creates habits, as it compels us to perform actions that release dopamine over and over again. That's why when you go on social media, it becomes an endless cycle of liking a post and then looking for the next one. You're chasing that short-term dopamine high, and it only becomes more addictive the more frequently you use it. Okay, you're cool, buddy. That's why sometimes when I scroll through social media, it feels like my hand is on autopilot. But that's not even the full extent of it. Not only is social media extremely addicting, but it also changes the way we perceive the world and how we treat our everyday lives. It's never good enough to just live in the moment anymore. Something only has value if it can be documented and shared to hundreds of people who don't actually care about you or the things you do. If you go to a concert, it's never just your own experience. Everyone has to know that you went to that concert, or it means nothing. Just wasted time that you could have spent obtaining likes on social media. And you can't just enjoy the concert either. No, that's not good enough. The real enjoyment comes from posting it on your story and making other people jealous. So just a little rule of thumb for all social media users, if you can't share it, don't do it. That's our lesson here. That's the mentality that people have adopted on social media. And it's not just a select few people who are guilty of this either. It's everyone. We live in an instant gratification world. If we aren't constantly stimulated by our technology or up to some extraordinary adventure that'll make somebody else jealous, then life really isn't worth living. So whenever we go on social media and check out the newest post about some amazing experience that someone else is having, it makes our own life seem boring in comparison. I believe the term is FOMO, the fear of missing out. And needless to say, this entire thought process is extremely unrealistic, not to mention unhealthy. I think we get too caught up in the idea of trying to live other people's lives that we end up forgetting to live our own lives. We're so interested in what other people are doing and how great their life seems from the outside that we forget to acknowledge the merits of our own experiences. We always compare the dullest and most routine moments of our own lives with the most astronomical and exciting parts of other people's. We want to live our lives not the way we want to, but the way everyone else does. But when you try to do that, you miss the entire point of it all. The beauty of the human experience is just how unique it is for each and every person. We're not clones of each other after all. We each have our own identity, aspirations, and story to tell. And that's what's so great about it. But social media has completely blinded us to this fact and is instead teaching us to follow the same path as everyone else, have the exact same interests and goals, and to idolize people we hardly even know or have never met. And sometimes that's not always the best idea. Because no matter how much fun it seems like other people are having, and no matter how uninspired and mundane our own life can seem in comparison, at the end of the day it's really all an illusion. An illusion that way too many people fall for. Because that's really what social media was designed for in the first place, to make everyone else envy you. And I think it's safe to say that it does a damn good job at that. But I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. It may be hard to hear at first, but it is undeniably the truth. Your life is not any worse than anyone else's. Okay, maybe it is for some people, but for the majority of you who use social media, you have it much better than you think you do. It's all a matter of perspective. Oh my fucking god, dude. And the sooner you acknowledge this fact and shed this foolish ideology that your life is somehow inferior to everyone else's just because you don't post as frequently on Instagram, the better off you'll be in the long run. The sooner you learn to be content with living your own life, the happier you'll be and the less appealing social media will become. And that's on Kanye West, baby. Now let's talk about the issue of social media and how it relates to mental health. Now just a brief disclaimer, I don't think that social media directly causes mental health issues, but I certainly think it plays a pretty big role. It's easy to see how the constant comparison with others has led some people to develop issues with self-esteem and confidence, myself included. And that's not even taking into account more serious issues like anorexia and body dysmorphia, also contributed to by social media. But has it always been like this? Is social media just an inherently unhealthy concept, or is it simply based upon the way we use it? Did we ruin social media? Or did social media ruin us? Well, in my not-so-humble opinion, I think that social media was created with admirable intentions, or at least something that was designed to bring people closer together. I feel like social media was once a tool people used to communicate with one another from across the world to catch up on other people's lives, and to share their story with people who may be interested. But as the years went by and the primary audience became younger and younger, it slowly devolved into a cesspool of shallow pandering and superficial validation, not to mention indirect hostility. You ever wonder why people are so fake on social media and why they pretend to be nice to each other? It's because they're afraid of confrontation. People have become too scared to voice their opinions in today's day and age, so they just succumb to the mob mentality and try to emulate what everyone else is saying. So every time you come across a photo of some basic white girl you knew from high school doing the same pose in front of a beach for the 100th time, and see all her friends hyping her up in the comments, just know that they don't really mean that. They're just too scared to call her ugly. They don't want to be the odd one out. I think that's part of the reason why Instagram doesn't have a dislike feature, because they don't want people to share how they really feel. And I'm not even trying to come across like an out-of-touch boomer or act like I'm too good for social media, as I still keep up with sites like Twitter and Instagram on a pretty consistent basis. Follow me, by the way. All I'm trying to do is expose and debase the worst aspects of these platforms in order for us to figure out what we can do to fix it. So instead of lying to other people and showing fake support to one another, why don't we just tell them how we really feel? Or instead of liking pictures of people we hate, why don't we just unfollow them? It's that simple. I mean, after all, you want nothing to do with them, so why are you constantly keeping up with their lives like some sort of compulsive drone? You should be focusing on your own life and not the life of someone you only pretend to like. So I encourage you, loyal viewer, to not fall victim to the bullshittery of social media and to stand up against the mob mentality. Don't be afraid to voice your own opinion and stand out from the crowd. We have to recognize just how artificial the interactions on social media can really be and to not get caught up in the rat race of trying to impress other people. Because maybe once we start living our lives the way they're supposed to be lived, we'll start impressing ourselves more. Oh, and while you're at it, check out my Instagram. God damn it.